And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Gymnastics for Everyone, hosted by your favorite gymnastic podcaster, Makayla Loves Gymnastics, and our returning guest, Mr. Oscar. Say hi, friend. You're on mute, baby.
Hi everyone, I'm Makayla. Happy to be back.
Hey, everybody. So today we are going to delve into the topic of how do you pick a team? What is the correct way of picking a team? Now, this is a very open-ended question because there is no right or wrong way to pick a team. Do you feel like there is a right or wrong way to pick a team when it comes to gymnastics?
My first thought is, who says there's only one way, one right way, you know?
Correct.
All
And
about the situation.
and if you've been following this book, because I realized a lot of people last quad was their first quad. I even realized that a lot of people this is their first quad of watching competitive elite level gymnastics like that or whatever. And so they might have not been around on the history of picking teams. And I would like not to just talk about the Americans because, of course, we're going to talk mostly about the Americans. But there have been some other very controversial teams picked from other countries. So,
For sure.
say that again.
I said absolutely, for sure. I can think of examples from this year.
True. So the way Team USA, because we're going to start off with the women, and let's break down the way the men pick a team too, because the men use a totally and completely different strategy than the women, and their strategy. I'm not going to say it doesn't seem to work. It just doesn't produce the amount of results that the women's do, but people seem to think that the men's system is more fair than the women's system.
Would you like to explain the difference?
Sure. Okay, so we're talking about 2023 now. In 2023, the way the women pick a team is, well, on the world side, they go through nationals, and then they have to, from nationals, be selected through to a national selection camp. So it will be a world selection camp. So sometimes they pick about between 7 to 12 girls to go on through to the next phase of the camp, and then from the camp they pick a team.
Right.
Whereas,
Are you about to? Is the difference that you're about to get to that the isn't it a new change? The men did a new thing this year where they didn't
yeah,
have they chose them from nationals or from they didn't have a trials.
correct. The men didn't do a world selection camp or world selection trials. They did a point system, and from your results from, I think it was classics or international competition plus nationals, be it whatever points that you got, that's how they came up with their team.
I missed the whole point system. I think that's separate from the bonus that they have going on.
I'm not 1000% sure, but that's to the best of my recollection. The best of my recollection, what is going on?
They definitely chose it way earlier. I can't remember actually perfectly, so that's frustrating.
Yeah, they chose their team right after nationals.
Right.
Their team was announced right after nationals, and whereas the women's waited literally like, what was it, a week and a half before World started before we knew who was on. Okay, no, the men's system this year also had a bonus. Okay, so John said the men's also had a bonus in their system too, where certain events, if they were doing a certain level of difficulty, they would get a certain amount higher on the. I don't know. It was weird.
Yes, they were trying to incentivize them to throw harder skills in their routines. But I don't think that's exactly what you were talking about. If you
No,
were talking about
no, that's
it's
not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like, because they didn't do a trial system, they did a point system. So every guy had a certain amount of points. So whoever had whatever points got to go to Worlds. I think that's how they did it. I'm not 100% sure because the USA men's team is weird. But for whatever reason, even though I look at it as weird, the general public look at it as more fair because it's not I'm picking a team. Is you have to earn a certain amount of points to
it's
get
more
your.
objective, or it sounds like they're trying to make it more objective.
It sounds like it is, but it's really not, because now you're relying on the judges to basically pick a team. And we know from the history of USA Gymnastics that the judges will give anybody a score. Like,
Who are you thinking about?
a lot of people, a lot of people. I'm thinking of every damn American Cup up until 2020. I'm thinking of a lot of things. Like,
But we're just the men, right?
the men, this is why I feel like, going back to the initial point of the conversation, why it's very important how we view the way people pick teams, right? Because we villainize people when they pick teams. Like, I feel like it's this mythos of the Carolis that because they picked teams, that's why they were so mean and evil, because they were breaking people's dreams. And then there's Tom Forster, who went basically 1 through 5 in the all around, and then people also jump on him like, well, you didn't pick Morgan, or you didn't pick this person, so you didn't do your job, because your job is to pick a team. So it just depends on however the system is doing it. The Internet always is going to be on the opposite side of whatever they're doing at that moment in time. So I just want to give a very fair and objective way of how teams have been picking, and how teams have been picked in the past. Like, RJ, that's another, is it like how Japanese choose their teams like in damn April, and Worlds are all the way in October. Like, and it's just, you didn't pick the last place finisher on.
Do you think that Tom's like the criteria that he was telling the press and whatever, the media, do you think that that was kind of like a extreme reaction or compensation to the way the Carollis would pick the team?
Yes,
Like too far in the other direction?
yes. And I still think USA Gymnastics is still swinging too far in the other direction, still. Because, in my opinion, okay, before we get into opinions and stuff, because we're jumping too far ahead, because we're about to just talk about I want to do a brief recap of how certain teams was picked over the span of gymnastics, right? So in 2021, you have 4 people on the team and 2 specialist spots, depending on whatever country that you were at. You might have only had one spot. Hell, some teams had no specialist spot, just depending on your country or whatever. And then you
You want to
had,
go you want
huh?
to go back in time instead of starting way back?
Okay, let's start way back there.
Because I'm like, how was the team picked in the 70s? I don't know.
I'm not sure either, but I know from when I started paying attention, basically from about 84 through 2000. 2000 was the first team where Bella Caroli basically picked the team, but from 84, I'm going to believe all the way up to 2000, you're picking up world and Olympic teams were all around results. Now we do have some caveats. Some people have been able to petition through to teams because of their results, and they might have been hurt at that moment in time or whatever. But for the most part, in general, most teams have just been picked 1 through 6, or in the case of Atlanta, 1 through 7 in the all around.
Is Wendy Bruce one of those caveats or not exactly? Her whole drama, I should say.
I Yes, Winnie Bruce is definitely one of those caveats. So is a lot of people. Winnie Bruce, Shannon Miller, and Dominique Mucciano in '96.
That's interesting
Um,
what RJ said. Where are you getting that from? Is that like a fact or just a vibe?
no, that was a fact. Compulsories back in the days used to be worth more than the optional routine. So
For
you
oh,
could,
okay, but for picking a team as well, not just in the
because it was born through 1 through 6 in the all around. So if you was weak in compulsories, this is why a lot of because they never used to show compulsories, they never used to explain this. So people never used to understood why certain people, you looking at these routines, you looking at these scores, but they're in like 7th place. And you can't understand it because they didn't show you the compulsory routines. And like the girl could have fallen 3 times in compulsories and her competition was over because there was just no way for her to make up for that in optionals.
yes.
It was up until 92, they didn't no, up until 88, all your scores would carry over also. So whatever you did in compulsories would carry over to day 1. Whatever you did in day 1 would carry over to day 2. Like it all added up. It was no fresh life, new start. Everything you did was important. Um,
I love that. I miss it.
in '96 was, I was in '92. I was a little bit too young to really understand what was going on, but basically, Betty Okino petitioned her way through to the Olympic team. Wendy Bruce also, I'm not sure if she also petitioned her way through to the Olympic team, but I know other people finished ahead of certain people at the not 02, 92 Olympic trials, and they thought they was going to make the team, such as um,
Kim
Kelly,
Kelly?
Kim Kelly. Even Amanda Borton finished right behind Kim Kelly, so Amanda Borton thought she was at least going to be the alternate, and petitions bumped people out the way, and Betty Okino and Wendy Bruce end up being on that team. Now, did teams, the Americans, manipulate that 1 through 5 system? Hell yeah. So after Michelle Campy got injured, the alternate, which was Amanda Borton, was supposed to be put on the team, but then they put Wendy Bruce on the team over Amanda. I think that's what happened.
I'm looking at the results right now. Wendy Bruce was on the team and Michelle was the alternate. So you're correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
Michelle and Betty both petitioned successfully to the Olympic training squad because they were injured.
okay. Exactly. That's why, especially in the 80s, all of these girls who could do a double layout, who could do a full twist and double back on floor, was nowhere on the USA scene because they were horrible in compulsories, right? Compulsories really kept a lot of the USA top talent off of teams, for real, for real.
What year did Brandy Johnson retire? Was she going for those games again?
In 92, I think Brandy Johnson, Bella forced her to retire, I think in 91.
Because she had a double layout, right?
Brandy Johnson had a full twist and double pack. She was opening her routine with a full twist and double pack, full twist and double pike, and ending with a full twist and double tuck, which was unheard of at that time. It was really hard.
Stunty. So who were you thinking of? Who
I was thinking
at compulsories?
Who was like really good at compulsories?
No, I thought you were talking about girls who could tumble huge skills, but
oh, okay. A great example is a girl like Karen Tolliver, the culture fits gymnastics. She should have been one of the top girls of after 84. But because compulsories were so rough for her, she just went on to college. And it's just a lot of girls like that who compulsories just always done them in, because compulsories weren't necessarily hard. They were just more like tricky. They would always put stuff in compulsories knowing damn well them girls was not doing none of that stuff in that era of gymnastics.
So can you briefly explain why it wouldn't work or why it didn't happen? That the strategy of like bringing girls just for optional routines, could they not do that?
They could not do that back in those days, right? I know it seems nonsensical right now because we're used to seeing you go prelims, you get your results, all your scores from prelims get thrown out, and then you start fresh in optionals, right?
Well, it's related to what we were talking about with Shannon the last time we spoke on here.
Correct. Back in the days, especially up until I think they got rid. I don't think they got rid of compulsories in '96. Compulsories, I think after '92 they changed how much compulsories was worth, or I think your compulsory scores got thrown out after '92. But I think up until '92, compulsories was worth literally 60% of your team's score. So if you were down there in like 5th place after compulsories, there was no way of jumping up to like 2nd place, even if you got all 10s, because you were so far back after compulsories. If you stuck in compulsories, there was no way for you to make an event final. Like you could be doing a Yurchenko double twist back in '87, but if you couldn't do the compulsory vault right, it was a wash because.
Or if you couldn't stick it, do it well, because that everyone could do that vault. It was like a.
Yeah, everybody could do the vault, but it's like, could you do it to get a great score?
Yes. Which federations, which countries were most vocal about trying to get rid of compulsories?
I don't know if it was a country because the countries themselves enjoyed compulsories. It was more so much of the fans who hated compulsories.
And also like TV broadcasters or that's
Yeah, there was no and without them airing compulsories because nobody would watch compulsories. It was such a large gap in the gymnastics coverage because how could you explain when you're watching somebody do such an incredible vault, but you didn't see their first day of competition when they took a large step on that compulsory vault, and that's why they're not in the finals. But nobody cared enough about compulsories for them to even make that jump. So, and plus, compulsories took up a lot of time because it was very technical. It was very sometimes it was very took a long time to gather a score for compulsories because everything was a very precise deduction, right? Every arm movement, every placement, it was very precise. So sometimes it took the judges a while to gather a
and
score.
I love that about compulsories because it's so much fun as a viewer and a fan when you know the deductions that the judges can take and you get to judge the routines in real time also.
So when they took away, so with compulsories in the mix, it kind of made sense to go 1 through 6 in the all around because you kind of need to see who was the best girls in compulsories in order to like. Yeah, I mean, it made sense. But then what happened with
Oh, let me
how
tell
do
you
you
why.
distinguish 100% of the same vaults? Who are the most highest? Who toes are the pointest? Who has the best form in the air? You get to see the exact same vault, so you know exactly the deductions that you are looking for. Who it is if you could get into it, I understand now why y'all hate compulsories, but if you could get into compulsories, you will understand why people love compulsories who love compulsories because it was absolutely positively about the technique of gymnastics. It wasn't like who was the because everybody was doing the exact same routine, so who had their own separate style. You really got to see whose style because who did the movement slightly different but the same to make it their own. You know,
I love
so after 96, here comes 2000. So you Team USA was still picking teams in the same way 1 through 5. And at Worlds in 19, because there was no, there was a 97 Worlds. I think Team USA finished sixth, maybe fifth, but it was either fifth or sixth
I think
place.
they finished last. Or was that 99?
I think that was 99.
One of those, if not both of those competitions, there were only 6 teams in the final. I'll check.
Yeah, and they both, yeah. So Bella Caroli sat up there and said, why are we still picking teams like this when there's no compulsories? All we need is optional scores. And these judges aren't judging right. Bella was just like the girls that the judges liked was getting bit scores with damn 9-4 start values and still getting 9-3 scores. And then the girls they don't like will have 10.0 start values and getting 9.2 scores. So Bella Caroli really sat up there and said, I don't trust the way the USA judges these girls. Like, it just makes no sense. So guess what? I don't give a damn where y'all finish at after trials. I'm going to pick the team because I don't trust USA Gymnastics. And a lot of people really, especially in 2000 when Bella just up and said, yeah, I'm going to pick my team. Like, fuck y'all results. I'm going to pick my team. People did not like that. People was upset. People was like, why would you do that? In hindsight,
I don't think there was a committee, but I could be wrong. And also, just to add, both years at Worlds, Team USA finished last and sixth.
wow. Was there a committee, centralized committee that picked teams like there is today before the crew? No, there was no committee picking teams. There was just trials. That was how you pick teams. World and Olympic trials. You pick teams through trials. Whoever finished top six at trials, that's your team. Seventh place was your alternate. It was just very cut and dry. If one of your superstars petitioned their way on the team, you understood. If somebody who wasn't one of the superstars petitioned their way on the team, you'd be looking crazy and be like, hmm.
But in 88 and 92, there were still head coaches, right? Once the team was selected. Like, wasn't Don
Yeah,
Peters the head coach?
there always is a head coach after the team is selected, but until Bella created this system in 2000, there was no national team coordinator where there was a specific position of picking teams and building a team. It was all a bunch of individuals. And then when you got to Worlds and Olympics, you expected these people who competed against each other so hard all year long to become Team USA and win a medal. This is why when you watch old school gymnastics competition, those girls was not hugging. Those girls was not friends. They just liked each other because they was vicious competitors. Because at every turn, you have to be in the top six or you're not going to make a team. Like,
Do you prefer that or 2012 when the girls were like being affectionate, but it struck me as a little forced, not genuine, I would say.
I understand. I think I prefer it to be more natural. Whatever the girls naturally feel, just do that.
I just watched a lot of the US women last night from 2012, and there were a lot of like hugs that did not look like they wanted to happen, you know?
hmm Yeah, they didn't really know each other, and then they looked at each other strictly as competition. Like everybody in those days was competition because gymnastics was not a team sport; it was an individual sport. They had a team event in it.
I remember, like, wasn't it 93 or 94 where, like, was it Amanda or JC wanted to or Shannon wanted to congratulate Dominique after her vault or something at Nationals one year?
It
And
was
she was
'96. It was '96. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was '96. Dominique Dawes did her her balance beam routine, and she was walking the pass. It was J.C. Phelps was sitting on one side of Mary Lee Tracy, and Amanda Borden was sitting on the other side of Mary Lee Tracy. And Dominique Dawes and Kelly Hill was walking by, and Amanda Borden looked like she was fit to stand up and hug Dominique, and everybody looked at Amanda like, "Bitch, if you don't sit your ass down, like, girl, we do not hug our competition." She is not your teammate until the Olympics, girl. Up until then, she's your competition, and she's Dominique Dawes, and she's beating you, girl. Like, no.
catch this full in dismount.
Period. So, in 2000, I think the way the all around after trials ended up being was who won 2000 trial? I think Elise Ray won 2000 trials. I think Kristen Maloney was second. I think Amy Chow was third. I think Jamie Danger was somewhere down there in fourth. She might have been third. No, I think Morgan White was fourth. I think Jamie Danger was fifth. But sixth after trials was Vanessa Atler. Now, Vanessa Atler had a horrible
Oh,
competition.
Amy beat Kristen. She got silver.
Okay, so it was Elise, Amy, Kristen, Jamie, or Morgan?
Morgan, Jamie, Vanessa, Dominique.
Vanessa. So that was the top six after the Olympic trials. Everybody thought that was the Olympic team.
Wait, I'm confused looking at the results. Why does it say there was prelims, finals, and the second day of prelims and finals. So they did all around 4 times?
Because in 2000s, they counted nationals as day one of trials. They counted trials as part two of trials. So look at the results after day two finals of trials.
Ooh, okay.
I know it's confusing because in 2000, Bella,
So take out both of the prelims or just take out?
yeah, just give me the results after the second finals.
So don't count the first finals either.
Mm-mm.
Just the finals.
Because that was the actual nationals.
It looks like Amy Chow won that with a 38.599.
It's possible.
But that's just the second day of finals from what I'm understanding, reading.
It's possible. It was a confusing competition. Even rewatching it on NBC, they just was really cutting that thing up. So I'm confused by that whole thing. But to make a long story short, I know Vanessa Adler finished ahead of Dominique Dawes, and that was where we're at that conversation. So Vanessa Adler should have technically been on the team, right? There was nobody petitioning. Vanessa Adler was arguably the best gymnast of that quad for America. She should have been on the team. Bella Caroli said, the fuck you, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. We're taking Dominique Dawes. And when the team was announced, everybody was shooketh. But that wasn't Bella Caroli's last hooray of shaking shit up. Because then he said Alyssa Beckerman was the alternate. A week later, he announced Tasha Schweiker as the second alternate. Morgan White went down. I think she broke her foot or broke her ankle or something like that. So everybody assumed Alyssa Beckerman would have been on the team. And Bella Caroli said, no, Tasha Schweiker. I don't believe those scores at National. It's Tasha Schweiker. And he put Tasha Schweiker on the team. And that was the very first Olympic team, if we are going to, where what happened at trials absolutely meant nothing when it came to who actually competed at the Olympics. And people was really shocked and mad.
I don't know. Doesn't seem so scandalous to me.
You say it doesn't seem scandalous to you?
No, I mean, I think people were a little delusional about some of the girls, like Alyssa. But at the same time, I don't think it would have actually been such a big change, net change, positive or negative, if Alyssa was on the team over one of those girls.
What about Vanessa Adler? Because that's the one that everybody, more than Alyssa Becker, man. I love Dominique Dawes with all my heart. She's my favorite gymnast of all time. I wasn't, well, I think I turned 18 or going on 19 in 2000. I was absolutely gagged that they picked Dominique Dawes over Vanessa Adler to make their team. Looking at Dominique Dawes routines at Olympic trials, looking at Vanessa Adler routines at Vanessa trials.
I mean, I would have put Vanessa Adler on my team. I love Vanessa Adler also, but to me, it seems really clear through rewatching and also things that have come to light since then that her mental game was just really off at that time. And I can see why that would be scary when you're picking the team.
I completely agree with it. And again, this is completely in hindsight. They could have told that girl to stop doing bars. They could
You
have told
should
that girl
have
to
told
stop.
her to stop doing bars.
I think the issue is they wanted her to be the all-around champion. They wanted her to do everything, and
That's just unrealistic. When was she ever getting those scores to be the all-around champion? Just to be the top US girl? Yeah, I can see that, but Look at the competition. There was so much competition.
If Vanessa Adler was on her absolute A game, I think she could have came in third.
What's the if she does the best bar routine you've ever seen her do? Like she replicates it, not like a better one than she's ever performed. When did she?
The best routine I ever seen her do was at the Australian Cup in
97.
90, no, 98. And I think she could score like a good 9.5, close to 9.6 on that bar routine.
Should we score? Should we give her scores right now?
Sure.
What is she maxing out on? Just to see if she could even compete, keep up.
I think her bar routine started from a 9.9, but I'm not 1000% sure.
I think I don't see a clear path for her. That's why I'm curious about what scores you think she could make.
Her clear path was the exact same path as the girl who won. She wasn't the greatest on uneven bars, but her vault, beam, and floor was strong enough where it would have caught up. But I mean, if Horkina would have not fallen, Horkina would have won that competition easily, and nobody would have challenged her. So
It would have been sensational if she had like hit her best beam routine in the Olympics. Like way more sensational than any of those Romanian girls. And yes, Svetlana would have won with the best scores for sure.
even Elise Ray, if the vault situation wouldn't have, I think she could have medaled. It would have been harder for Elise than Vanessa, but I think she could have medaled.
I think a lot of people could have medaled just given the situation and the messiness of it all.
Even I'm talking about even without the vault being what it was, a lot of girls was not doing a 10.0 vault in that quarter point. A lot of girls was doing 9.7s, 9.8 start value vaults. I think a lot of the Americans, not a lot of the Americans, I think Vanessa Adler and Elise Ray could have on their best day. Now, RJ, you speaking some truth. Now, if Dominique Mucianu was in her 1998 form and Vanessa Adler was in her 1998 form, hell, even one more time, Kristen Maloney was in her 1998 form in 2000. Yeah, the Americans would have been. It wouldn't have been the joke that quad was if people was injuries, the Carolis, the system, USA Gymnastics not giving a damn and only caring about the 96 team and pimping them out for every penny that they could. You know, we got the talent that quad. It's just USA Gymnastics fumbled that ball. And but arguably that led up into the way they started picking teams after that, which was Marta Caroli became after 2000. Let's move forward. Here comes 2001. The girls was like, fuck no, hell no, not Bella. Bella is crazy. Bella is psycho, not Bella. The coaches was like, please God, anybody else but Bella. Bella is fucking psycho. And you know what? You know what USA Gymnastics did? They said, okay, cool.
Hire your wife.
We're hiring Marta. And everybody was like, at first, they was like, thank God. Marta's not as crazy as Bella. Thank God. But quickly, that thank God went to fuck. Yes, she is as crazy as Bella, maybe a little bit worse. So, Marta Caroli way of picking her teams was always you go to trials, whoever was at first she started out with whoever was the top three in the all around automatically gets a berth through to whatever team it is, and then she gets to pick the other three girls.
And did that change in Athens? Because it was top 2, I think.
It changed in Athens. It was top 2 in trials, And then after Athens, it went to whoever wins trials. I'm only picking letting one girl wins a spot. I'm picking everybody else, bitch, because I don't trust y'all and I don't trust the rest of the gymnastics.
Just for the worlds in between, because in 2008, didn't they have 2 spots at trials? The top 2?
Was it?
I'm pretty sure Nastia and Sean were both given the spots.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I could
Okay.
be wrong.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right. So, but I know in 2012 it was only one spot, and I know in 2016 it was only one spot. But there were smaller teams also. There were also 5 teams compared to 6 teams, so that's probably why. But Marta wholeheartedly picked teams and did not give a damn about your results at trials. Like, you could have came in 4th place, Makayla Skinner, and Marta was like, I don't give a damn. You don't fit on my damn team. So you're an alternate, but the girl who is in 12th place, who have a really great bird team, which we need, is going to the Worlds, going to the Olympics. And people really, really did not like this.
We're all the way at 2016 now?
People did not like this because they felt like it wasn't so fair.
Sorry, are we talking about 2016?
I'm just talking about Marta's decision making, period.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Do you think trials really matter after Marta? Yes, trials absolutely matter now because, once again, it seems like USA Gymnastics is going back to 1 through 5 in the all around.
If you were going to generalize, would you say it's harder to make your way onto the team and impress, or to just at trials, or to remove yourself from your based off your performance?
Either. Both sides have their goods and their downs, and I want to talk about it because people look at 1 through 5 as good, but then going 1 through 5 leaves you so many holes on your teams because in the team you only need two all-arounders, but your goal is to have 3 all-arounders and 2 people making up spots, right? That don't always work when you go 1 through 5.
I would say
At the
it
same
doesn't work most of the time.
at the same time, picking a team sometimes you could have more hope in the gymnast than they actually. I'm not going to say they actually deserve.
Oh, I thought you were going to say then their actual self-belief.
There we go. That's a better. You can have more hope in the gymnast than their actual self-belief. So you could be hoping that this could be the time that this girl is going to turn up and she goes to world and falls 7 times. So let's start off with you, Oscar. Which way do you like more?
Of all the ways we just discussed, or just the Marta or Bella way? Because I think
Are the ways that we discussed, which way do you like most?
of the ways that have already been tried.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not seeing the major issue with the way Marta chose the teams, putting aside like the cruelty aspect of it, like in 2004, how they had to be televised or whatever that was. But no, the way, like making the decision based off of the criteria for winning medals. That's literally how simple it is. And that is not all around necessarily. It's 3 scores on 4 events. And then I would say that's the priority. and then all around is kind of like a luxury if you're a top country like the USA. But we're talking about the USA. So.
I feel like the way I prefer the picking of the team method. Watching USA go 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 or 1 through 7 for many, many years, I see how that there is glaring holes in that system. I can understand how that system can appear from the outside to be the most fair. But it's really not, because you can have a girl like Zoe Miller who's capable of medaling at the Olympics on uneven bars, who's going to possibly be left off the team because she's weaker on 3 events. When Team USA kind of does need another girl to work on even bars behind Charlize. So, can you compare how the 2000 team was Tom picked and the 2013 team compared with how Marta would have picked the same team? Okay, cool.
Wait, it sounds like we agreed though, the two of us, on the way to pick the team, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yes. I feel like in 2000, if it was Marta,
2020, you mean?
I'm sorry, so sorry, 2020. Well, 2021 actually. Marta A would have not let Jade Carey go the individual route. It just would have not happened.
Because
Jade Carey was one of the top vaulters and floor exercise workers in the world. Why would you let that girl not use that girl for your team scorer?
yes.
Part 2 to that is, let's just be honest. Marta did not play if she picked you on a team to go to Worlds or to the Olympics and you fell. You likely would never be picked for another team again. So there's a lot of people that just would not be even in contention, such as Riley McCusker would have been retired from the sport. Morgan Hurt would have been retired out of the sport.
Grace McCallum.
Grace McCallum would have been retired out of the sport.
What about Tara, based off of event final flopping?
Kara, damn, because that was her only event, and 2 years in a row you failed. Oh yeah, Kara would have been retired. Like a lot of these girls that were in contention would have not been. That's just.
What about Leanne and Jordan?
Leanne would have been in contention, yes, but Jordan would have been retired like 2 years ago after like a long time ago.
That would have been crazy if Jordan Childs had been at UCLA in 2018 when they won.
But that's a good point, RJ. Maybe Jordan's whole career would have been changed because Marta definitely would have taken Jordan to Worlds in 2017.
Yeah.
Maybe even over Morgan. So maybe the whole trajectory of Jordan's career would have been different.
But would Marta have brought Ashton to Worlds in Montreal?
No.
No.
Never. But in 2020, I think Marta would, especially if we're talking about 2021, where Connor and Sky would have been age eligible for the Olympics, Marta would have had them ready for the Olympics. And both of those girls would be ready for the Olympics because they would want to get their shot out the way so they could quickly leave this sport and get out of the hairs of Marta Caroli.
What an alternate universe.
I think Marta would have also saw the Jim and Charlize Jones, and we wouldn't have had to wait a whole nother quad to see this talent from Charlize. We would have been saw it a long time ago.
Absolutely. I think that Jordan would have made the 2018 team also if she had been brought to 2017 Worlds.
But then again, Marta may have been really loving Morgan, like really in love with Morgan, and maybe Morgan would have been gifted a lot of things that she didn't have to compete so hard for. So maybe she wouldn't have been as injured because unlike Tom, Marta would have never let Morgan compete. She would have only let Morgan compete at Worlds and Olympics. Like,
But here's a question: If Marta's bringing, is Marta still bringing Morgan on any of those teams if she's not having her do all rounds?
it depends because in hindsight, if Marta was still national team coordinator, we would have never gotten Simone's return. So
I'm just wondering how valuable Morgan is in Marta's eyes if she's just doing 3 pieces or less.
I think the first time when Morgan was having her elbow problem and the choice was to have surgery or just to work it out, I think Marta would have made her do the surgery and just made her miss all of whatever year she was hurt for to have her ready for 2000. Also, I don't know how soon it's just I don't know how it all would have played out because by then it would probably the team probably would have been led by Morgan and Suni.
You wish. I don't think so. I don't think so. Respectfully. I just know those are your 2 faves from that quad, right?
Yes. So who else would it had been under Martyr?
Like the all-arounders, you mean?
Hmm.
Um, well, what year are we even talking about? Because I thought you said Marta would have Morgan do the surgery.
Come time the Olympics, who do you think Marta would have picked for the team in this alternate universe now?
Right, this is so made up, but I could see Morgan for 2020. I could also see her really investing in Leanne, but I could also see Leanne crumbling kind of from that pressure. I mean, am I forgetting the girls? I don't know.
I could see Leanne being a more Kayla DeCello also would have been a more heavy hitter. That quad. I
Who
don't
knows?
know.
Maybe Zoe Miller would have gone to Tokyo.
I'm just like who knows? Even like a gymnast like Maggie O'Keefe, and like maybe they wouldn't have went to college. Maybe Marta would have convinced them to stick around in the league.
Gabby Perea.
Gabby Perea, like maybe all of these girls, maybe Marta would have convinced them to stick around in the league.
Do you think Marta would have cared? Or what would she have made of Tom putting or having Reagan be like an all around star?
Yeah, okay, so that's a good. So by you saying that, that helps me because yes, in that quad, it would have been dominated with Morgan, Reagan, Jordan, Leanne, Suni. I think some of the people that we look at, like Makayla Skinner, would have been there just because. No, she wouldn't have because Jay Carey. So,
But Jay Carey would have been 2019 world champion on ball without Simone.
hmm so I think it would have been. I think the team, the 4 main people would have been Morgan, Suni, Jade, and Leanne. I think the 2 specialists probably would have been Makayla Skinner and maybe like
Shilese.
maybe a Shilese, hell, maybe a Trinity if because I think like some of these girls that Tom just let, I think Marta would have kept them around.
Yes. Misa would have been world champion. Very true.
Maybe Jordan, maybe it would have been a Jordan Childs era that quad because maybe because Simone didn't come back. Maybe Marta would have tried to make Jordan the new Simone.
Would Marta have like cared about Jordan keeping her Almanar, retaining her Almanar?
I don't think Marta would let anybody do an Arminar at this point. She would be like, it's not worth it. She would have everybody doing a Chung by now or a Rudy.
Mm.
I think Chelsea and Alicia says their goal is to pick the highest scoring team, but they always just pick the top five in the all around. So I don't believe them. I think they're just going to pick whoever's the top in the all around, and I think that's just what it is.
I don't have the facts to look at in front of me. Besides, I only can remember that was the case for this year's Worlds, and they've only done 2 or 3 Worlds, 2-team finals. But I feel like they're definitely interested in keeping things, playing things safe and not taking a bigger risk for a reward.
Because the team that they picked was cool. It was a great team. I'm not going to say it was an incorrect team. They could have picked a better team to win more individual medals.
Agreed. Who are you thinking about?
Definitely seeing how things played out, Zoe Miller definitely would have won a medal on bars. She might have even beaten Charlize on bars because for whatever reason, the judges love Zoe's bar routine. And that's something that, for whatever reason, American coaches don't take that into effect. But when you send the girl around the girl keeps getting close to 15. When you send the girl to America, the girl keeps getting close to 14-4. So
Who was fourth in the bars final? Oh, Huangzhou Fan in China. Sorry.
yeah, but she's tied with Charlize.
I mean that score, 14-7, 6-6, which was the third and fourth place score. Zoe could have definitely beat that score, but I don't know that she would have gotten that score with the routine she did at like Pan Am's, for instance. Like, I think they would have been a little harsher on her handstands.
Maybe, maybe not, but
It's not clear one
to
way or
me,
the other to me. Yeah.
yeah, because like I said, they send Zoe to one competition, she's scoring close to 15. You send Zoe somewhere else, she's scoring like 14-5. So it's hard.
But it's clear to
Also,
me that with her current routine and her current form, Zoe is not going to be giving 15s, and there are girls who are getting 15s.
I don't know because they love Zoe Miller for whatever reason. Like for whatever reason, every quad the judges just have one girl that they like, and they forgive a lot. They just they be like, oh, we didn't see you lose form on that
But
pad.
I'm
I think it's Zoe
the
starts at
world's judges, and she hasn't been in front of world's judges. I get that
that's
it's the
true
same
too.
judging. It's the same like group or whatever as Pan Am Games. I think
I don't think
it's not group 2 or whatever.
I don't know. Don't make me lie to you.
Okay, I think it might be. I'm getting
I think Zoe routine starts at a 6-3.
6-4. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And yeah,
And I think Charlize routine starts at a 6-4. So
I think it's a 6-4 if she connects the pack.
Van Leeuwen is a 6-5.
Well, does she get the same amount? I think it's the same thing if she does the half twist on the dismount versus if she connects the pack to Van Leeuwen. They're both,
If she does a half twist, she gains another point because it goes from a D to an E.
I know, so I'm saying I don't think she did both of those things at Worlds this year.
No, I'm saying she would have to do everything to get a 6-6. I think her normal routine that she does starts at a 6-4. If she does either the connection or the half out, it'll start at a 6-5.
Right, but I could also see it being a 10 floor and 6-5 with all the connections.
Okay. Also, Kalia Lincoln. If you're gonna have Sky do 3 events, have Kalia Lincoln do floor.
Yeah.
I also
Sorry.
No, 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 you're good. I also feel like Jocelyn was a risk worth taking. I'm not saying Jocelyn's pick was like bad or nothing. It's just the judges just wasn't as lenient to Jocelyn as they was the rest of the year at World.
Yeah, I think Jocelyn has a lot to clean up if she for Olympics next year.
But I don't feel like Jocelyn's scores was like out of the range of what Jade would have scored. I think Jade probably would have scored. Yeah, Jade did score lower than her on floor at
Swiss Cup.
no, Jade wasn't doing everything she could do
A
either, but
13.050 and a 13.7 on her DTY, I think. But who knows what who those judges were.
mhm. I also feel like with in the future. Now let's talk about in the future. 'Cause we talked about the past, we talked about what's going on now. In the future, I feel like the correct way to pick a team is to always hold trials. Always hold a trial. Like I feel like it's even for the men, it's you always do a trials. You give trials some weight, but you don't make the trials the final decision, if that makes sense. Maybe like you give again, like Marta used to do, one or two spots away at trials if you come in first or second. But I maybe even the top three now with only being five people on the team, maybe you let the top three, whoever's the top three all arounders at trials, those the three people you build your team around. And then you start filling in holes with your other two spots.
I definitely think that the 2004 Olympic trials were really um what do I want to say? Like, I don't know, pivotal, or like they influenced the decisions Marta would make in the future just because it was her first one in charge and she saw her superstar Carly Patterson fall off beam, right?
Correct.
So she was ready for the flops.
And see, I don't think Marta in 2004 was expecting that. I think she expected Carly, Carly, I'm so sorry,
Win,
Cardi
right?
B, or, huh?
Don't you think she expected her to win trials and hit beam?
She expected her to win trials. She expected Courtney Coupettes to come in second place. She thought she was going to be able to build a team around those two people. I don't think she ever expected Courtney McCool to automatically get a spot through to the Olympics. I think she was going to pick Courtney McCool. I just think her picking Courtney McCool was going to be at a lot less of a. Maybe she was just going to use Courtney to do bars and beam, and use Anna to do floor and vault, or Mahini to do floor and vault. But I don't think she expected to have to use Courtney McCool in the all around because she won that spot.
Agree. I'm gonna get some more water. I'll be right back.
No problem. Also exactly, John. Also in 2004, it was the first time where picking a specialist was actually in consideration, because before that, picking a specialist was unheard of. But that was the first time where Anna Hatch was like, "Oh, all I have to do is do vault and floor. I don't have to do bars and beam." Her scores was so low in their qualification. I think everybody was gagged, like all across the board. Like on every event, her scores was just low, and I don't think the Americans saw that coming. I'm thinking they thought Courtney McCool. I think they knew vault was going to be low because she only did a Yurchenko 1.5. I'm thinking on bars though, they thought she was going to be able to score like a 5.5, 5.6, and they gave that bar routine like a what 5.2, 5.3. I think Beam, they also thought she was going to score 5.5, 5.6, pushing 5.7 right along with Carly, and that didn't happen. She scored a sub 9 score. And on floor again, I'm thinking they scored, thinking she's gonna score between a 9.4 to 9.5. And again, that did not manifest. Courtney McCool was a great gymnast. We're not gonna shit on her gymnastics, but she is definitely the reason Marta changed some things after 2004.
Yeah, I know that had her shook. Got the scores. Wait, did she even get scores? Did she qualify?
Courtney McCool, yeah, but they just was the judges were scoring Courtney McCool again. Another gauge
No,
gymnast.
like the routines she was given were like insane, and we're never gonna get credit. All of the twisting jumps.
But that's what I was. What you missed while you was going. So I was saying, I think Team America thought that Courtney McCool was going to score somewhere between a 5.7 and 5. I'm 5.6 and 5.7 on bars. I'm thinking they thought she was going to score again 5.6 and 5.7 on beam.
Nine.
I'm thinking she was going to score between a 5.3 and 5.5 on floor.
Wait, why are you saying
And I'm
5?
thinking 9.5. I'm so sorry. 9. I'm 9. 9.3 and 9.5.
On floor? I think that's really wishful thinking.
I'm thinking because look at the positions they put her up in. She was going up like either second to last on these events and qualifications, or like third to last. Like she was always like either like up there in the lineup. So I'm thinking they thought she was going to get those scores, and the judges was just like, nope, nope,
And there's
no
like
ma'am.
more to this story also with the Athens test event, which like Marta Karoli was like claiming Courtney won the all around too, and there was no all around competition. They were definitely not being realistic with her.
No, no. And I feel like in 2000, two young ladies that should have been Tasha Schweiker should have been on the 2004 Olympic team. I don't give a damn. I think Marta also
Which
realized from
events? Bars,
everything.
all around?
Yes.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
She was after nationals, after they won on nationals, when she was doing her best, she was third, right behind Cardi and Courtney. Now, day two of nationals, I think she fell on a couple of things. And at trials, Tasha didn't do bad at trials. The judges just was giving her stupid low scores for no reason. She stuck a perfectly stuck Yurchenko 1.5, and they gave that girl a 9.1. Other girls was doing ugly 1.5, scoring 9.4. Like they purposely just was not giving her scores.
Oh, it's a conspiracy.
Oh, it's lots of conspiracy why Tasha Schweiker didn't make the 2004 Olympic team.
I mean, I just remember the whole like kind of crazy drama about like that she was too distracted out of the gym, the NBC fluff, and she had a boyfriend.
Basically, USA Gymnastics, and I also believe Marta Karoli was very mad at Tasha because Tasha's whole focus in 2004 wasn't just gymnastics. She, wanted a balance between gymnastics and her personal life.
Is that the case? It wasn't that started to happen in 2002, 2003, and then by 2004, she was kind of like, okay, I have to take it more seriously for Marta to consider me?
Yes.
Okay.
But about time 2004 happened, I guess the judges just was like, no, it's too late. You should have been paying attention. You should be the number one gymnast here, girl. But you out here want to run amok and be a normal teenager. So no, you don't get the Olympics, girl. Somebody who really deserves the Olympics, who really wanted Taryn Humphries, gets to go. You know.
She was so mistreated, both quads.
But at least in the 2000 quads, they picked her over the mistreatment.
Yes.
But yeah, she definitely should have been on the team over Taryn Humphries. No offense to you, Taryn Humphries, but yeah.
Okay, that's interesting you say that. I don't even think Aaron is like the biggest culprit of anything.
I think so.
But if you take Taryn off, I just feel like the whole team was kind of a mess because I don't think I would even Would you for sure have Mohini on all of your teams? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't have taken Mohini at all.
Right, right. So it's just a big puzzle once you start taking people out.
Oh no, no, I have a very clear picture of who the team should have been.
Okay. Did you already say
The,
it? Well,
the team should have. The team should have been okay. So I have two teams. I'm going to do the team with no injuries, make believe everybody's healthy, everybody's good. Then I'm going to do the realistic team that actually should have been the athletes. The unhealthy team that would have kicked Romania's ass in 2000 was a healthy Ashley Postel, a healthy Courtney Coupets doing all of her difficulty and all her routines are at 10
when
again.
was the last time Ashley Postel was that healthy? 2003
Ashley
Worlds?
Postel was healthy that whole quad. She just was another one. If you watch Ashley Postel's 2004 routines from Nationals and see the scores that they was giving her, you're going to look at yourself and be like, why was she getting an 8.9 on that floor
Oh, she
routine? She
wasn't
didn't
injured?
fall. She wasn't injured. She wasn't going out of bounds. She was doing the hardest routines you ever seen her do. The judges just was like, fuck you, Ashley Postel. How dare you pull out of the damn world championships with a damn stomach flu? Who the hell told you to go to Worlds and eat, bitch? No, ma'am.
That's not funny, but okay.
Go back and watch her routines. She did not do bad at Nationals. It makes no sense why she got the scores she got.
Marta wanted her to retire, go NCAA.
It seems that way.
That's just so weird because when was the last time you had a world champion on beam, Marta?
I think she thought other people could get it done. I don't know.
Are
But
any of these four gymnasts on your team? Oh, there were so many good gymnasts at that trials, honestly.
yes. Also, Tabitha again was another girl that Team USA
I
needed.
was gonna ask about Tabitha, Elise Ishino,
Lisa Shima.
Carly Janiga, who had a great score.
I wish she was have stuck around for the next quad, but no.
Liz Tricase,
People love her, but no.
and Tia or Holly.
Tia or no.
No.
But Tabitha Yan and Elise Oshin, is it Oshino?
Inshino, I think.
Yeah. Those two girls, yes, definitely was needed. Tasha also was needed. Now, but again, without injuries, my team would have been Courtney, Ashley Postel, Chelsea Memo, Tasha Schweikert, Carly, and Courtney Coupet. That would have been the team that I don't think Romania could have handled healthy all of those girls. Now, with the team that we actually had, with actually girls that we had,
Yeah.
the team should have been Carly, Courtney, Tasha.
Oh, was Tasha on your other team?
Yes. Carly, Courtney, Tasha, Anna Hatch, Elisa Sheena.
Elise over Tabitha. Why?
Tabitha was hurt at that point in time. She broke her leg before trials, right after trials. That's why she didn't make it to the team.
Oh, but you would have her on the team if she didn't break her leg.
Absolutely. She would have been on that team. Yes. And that sixth spot, I don't.
Yeah, you have Tasha, Carly, Courtney, Elise.
Anna Hatch. I'm gonna say Courtney McCool because in hindsight, I didn't know what they were gonna do to her at the Olympics. So
Wait, can you
I
break
get.
down from those five which routines were missing?
Okay, cool. They definitely was missing another bar worker, Alicia Shino, Tasha Schweiker on uneven bars. They were missing another floor worker because absolutely none of those girls, other than
Courtney.
damn Carly Patterson, started from a 10.0 on floor at the Olympic Games. Tasha had a 10.0 floor exercise routine. Alicia Shino had a 10.0 floor exercise routine. Um, they were okay with bars and beam, but they were well,
Courtney.
they were okay with vault. And the team that they picked was heavy on vault, heavy on beam. The team I would have picked would have been Anna Hatch. Do what you got to do on vault, but we're gonna have 10.0 bars. We're gonna have 10.0 floors.
Who are the heavy hitters on beam?
Huh?
Who are the heavy hitters on beam?
With the team that they picked for
Yeah.
real, Carly and Courtney
Which Courtney?
Coupettes.
It's not making sense to me, any of it. I'm sorry. But it's so far down. It's funny.
With the team that I think they should have had with 3 up 3 count. This is gonna happen. So with 3 up 3 count, they would have went Tasha Schweiker, Yachinko 1.5, Courtney, Carly Patterson, I'm so sorry, DTY, Anna Hatch, DTY. Then you go to bars. You go
Oh, wait. I just didn't catch it. It was Anya, who, and who?
Tasha, Yachinko 1.5, Carly, DTY, Anna, DTY. Then
Good.
you go to bar. Then you go to bars, which was a major event that was keeping gaps, you know. So I'm saying no Taryn Humphreys on my team. So you go Elisa Shino, Tasha Schweiker, Courtney Coupettes. That's your bars rotation.
What was top? Oh, Elise was getting like 9 threes.
9 5s, 9 6s, depends on the competition. But she had a 10.0 start value. It depends on if she made all her connections or not.
Yeah, I
But
meant
most
at Olympics. Would she get like a 9 3?
I think they would give her about 9 4 to 9 5. Because at Pacific Rims, I think she scored like a 9 6 or something on bars.
But scores were higher at that
Yeah,
competition.
yeah. And then we go to Beam, and then we go Elisa Sheena, Courtney, Carly, and then we go to Flora, and we go
Courtney McCool again, right? Or
no Courtney, no Courtney McCool is not on this. Did she make my team?
no, I don't think so. Sorry.
No, she wasn't. Elisa Sheena, Courtney Coupettes, Carly Patterson. I'm so sorry. And then we go to Flora, and then Flora would be Tasha Schweiker. Basically, Elisa Sheena would do the all around. Elisa Sheena.
I know. I was about to say, so she's like the most robbed gymnast of that quad.
Yeah, I think so because I think she would have been an all around threat because I think most of her routines started from a 10.0, where a lot of the girls' routines were not starting from 10.0.
Why did Courtney Coupettes compete in the all-around final with an injury?
They had nobody else.
Courtney McCool.
I think they were giving her like a 9 6 start value. That's how much they weren't crediting like half of her skills.
No, wait. Can I ask you, Makayla, are John Perry and Johnny Pear the same person?
Oh no. John Perry is the one who was on the show the other night when I did like that 4 hour thing.
Yeah, I remember. That was a great show. I loved your conversation. But it's just the names are so similar. It was
I know Johnny Perry has been a very long time friend to the show.
I recognize Johnny Perry as well. They have some
Yeah.
controversial takes. And I would say that that is not the reason I dislike Taryn. I could give you multiple reasons why I dislike Taryn.
This is why I dislike Taryn. I don't dislike Taryn. I just feel like
Her routines.
her routines were not. Taryn really lacked in flexibility. she never hit a split that she like. Um, her vaults was her floor routine was I mean, her bars was nice. She won the damn Olympic silver medal on bars, but
She was overscored.
very much.
She had nice form. She just had, I would say, my biggest
I
gripe
would
with
have
that routine was
definitely
the
had.
magnitude.
I would have definitely had Courtney Kupets with the silver medal and Taryn Humphrey with the bronze medal, but that's just me.
And Leah with the bronze. Exactly.
Oh, period. And period. And Taryn Humphrey is the reason why these wolf turns are so damn important in damn gymnastics right now. Trust and believe. Lauren Mitchell might have made them popular, but Taryn Humphrey is the one who dug them things up out of the grave and brought them things to damn balancing. So
So,
let us never
really, are you
forget.
saying we should thank Alphon
For wolf turns,
for their resurgence?
damn,
Or is it
damn,
Armanet?
both.
Okay. The way Taryn Humphries would land her Arabian on beam, literally her butt was touching her heels.
Man, Taryn Humphreys. But she did what she had to do to make teams, so we can't give mamas too much.
I don't know. Like, when I look at what she did, or when I try to remember what she did, I'm just like, it doesn't make sense why she got on the team. It's
It doesn't.
politics. It's
But
bias.
speaking of that, I think that also led to the 2008 team being picked because there also was a. If I really thought about it hard enough, I don't understand why Marta picked that team either. I don't understand why Yana Bigger was not on that team.
And we're taking off Sam or Bridget.
Probably Bridget. Probably Bridget.
I like, I would, I think I would go with Sam just because
But
I
I
thought
understand why they picked.
bars were so good.
But see, Sam had such a good floor routine and such a good beam routine, and she had a good Yurchenko double at the time.
You think Sam Pejik's floor would beat at the Olympics, the Beijing Olympics? It would beat both Maddie Larson and Ivana Hong's floors.
Yes, because in that code of points, it was all about doing difficulty, and I think Sam was the first girl who started off with the double double, and her second tumbling pass was a double layout.
She was. Those were ankle breakers, though. Those landings.
They were. Oh, they were. Oh, they absolutely were. But she was the first that I remember seeing starting off with the double double, and then her second tumbling pass was a double layout. So.
Yeah,
And also,
maybe.
rumors are, and everybody from the '08 team has confirmed it, that Sam also had an Arminar coming up till 2008 and plan on debuting that vault at the Olympics. So,
You know, I'm happy that things worked out the way they did.
you, you play so much, Oscar. You wouldn't want to see a Samantha Paget Arminar friend.
I think that would be the last routine of her elite career.
Sam used to be able to pull around a 2.5 twist front layout. Like Sam used to, I don't know. Sam's gymnastics is another one that should be studied because some of the things Sam Paget used to do, she should have not been able to do them. Like at one point in time, she was doing the double Arabian off a beam,
Really? I didn't know that.
and I'm just like, how, Sam? How? Like your double pike is really short already.
I don't get how she could do even chuck an Almanar the way she was landing her DTYs. She was landing them with her legs like so far apart and her chest super low. She was not ready for the landing.
And y'all out here wanting Jocelyn Robertson to chuck her arm in arm.
I've never said that. I mean,
Love.
Jocelyn's DTY was scary in person.
It looks scary on TV. Like, it looks really, ugh. I hope she learns another vault or can fix that vault. The 2018 though.
Her coaches are holding her back from her real Rudy potential.
Look, okay, I know that's not the conversation, but I just don't understand why Jocelyn Robertson don't learn a Rudy. Like, it just would make so much sense to me for her to do a Rudy. Like,
I think it's her coaches. I think they literally would never even consider to ask her to train that.
she would score so much more than she scored on her Chung or her DT. Like, and then next quad, the girls can do a Chung and a Rudy. So,
Oh, but not this quad.
no, not this quad.
Oh, so
Next quad, they'll be considered two different families. This quad, they're still considered the same family.
can she do a Chung and a Zamolochikova?
Yes.
We'll go for that, babe.
It's not that they're in the same family. Under the women's code, you can't do the same.
Like,
Yeah, you can't do like a Yurchenko double and a Suk double.
you know what? I've heard people say it both ways online, so I don't actually know. I don't know what is what, you know? I'm hearing different things, is what I'm saying.
Oh. But yeah, okay, so I think
Miss are getting 13s on their DTYs like the majority of the time than 14s. I think it's very much like an American thing to be getting 14s every time on your DTY.
Yeah, I think most DTYs score around a 13,
7,
6, 13, 7. A DTY is a hard ball. I know everybody be like, oh, it's just a DTY, but trust me, it's a hard skill to learn. That's why when you look at these minor competitions, most girls can't do it. Most girls are still stuck at a Yurchenko full. And the Yurchenko full be kind of washy. Every time you be like, just the Yurchenko double, would you ever say just the Moors? Because it's essentially the same thing.
But I would say, oh, Simone just threw the Chung, not the body. I was confused why that wasn't on your poll. Simone's 2018 Worlds qualifying vault as her best vault ever.
Look, you only have 4 options, and those are the first 4 that came to my mind.
No
American can go past 14-3 internationally with the DTY.
I'm sorry, Jordan Childs did that at Worlds this quad. She got a 14.5.
Plus, a 14-3 on the DTY is damn near 10 because it's only worth the 5.0. So that means they're only giving you 0.7 of a point of deductions. Like, that's great. A great score for a DTY.
Who's the best? What's the best DTY in America after Jordan? If Jordan's even your first.
Oh, after Jordan. Okay.
Is Jordan your best?
Yes.
It's funny because I think Shilese could be better and probably has been better than Jordan in the past. But average, I give it to Jordan. And recently, I give it to Jordan also.
Yes, I would say the second best DTY right now in America probably belongs to.
Oh, wait, let me really think. I'm missing someone.
I want to say Leanne.
Leanne is not better than Charlize, in my opinion. She has
Charlize have bad landings. That's the
Leanne
only issue.
crosses her legs, and she, to me, I think Charlize is better. I'm definitely forgetting the best girls. Skinner, it's because of politics.
Oh, that conversation. Did you see that debate online?
Yeah, I watched her whole. I didn't really see the debate, but I saw her whole Instagram story today where she was like posting old videos of herself. And she was like, "Look at me doing the triple double onto a soft mat for the first time. Marta would never let me." Did you see that?
Yes. Gee, this lady said because of politics, this is why she never got a 10 on in NCAA or her junior season.
I just don't blame her at this point for these out of pocket. I just know that she's surrounded by people who like feed into her delusions. And not even feeding into her delusions necessarily, planting delusional ideas in her head and like affirming her in ways that are not in touch with reality.
There we go. That's a word. Can you repeat yourself, friend? That's a word.
No, but I mean, it's delusional. But at the same time, I think that some of her vaults, I wouldn't have minded.
Somebody, the Twitter user, IMO, and the Twitter user, I think his name is JoJo. They put up some examples of vaults that I could see Makayla getting a 10.0, especially comparing them to some of other people vaults who've gotten 10.0 doing the same vault, not as well.
Very, I think that it was just as bad, or like maybe even better than some of Ashley Nat's. She got tens on vaults, right?
But then I would sit up here and say this too. I feel like comparing a gymnast like Makayla Skinner to a gymnast like Maggie Nichols is just unfair. Like that's just disrespectful. But
Why? Wait, I didn't see Maggie
Mag-
Nichols. I
huh?
was talking about Ashley Nat.
No, but that was the comparison to Twitter on Twitter.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. What was the comparison to Maggie?
People are saying if Maggie kept getting all of those 10 long vaults, they could have given Makayla 10.
It's just a different vault. Like you can't compare it. They're not the same. The way they.
Plus, form in the air, straight legs, all of that stuff matters.
I don't think Maggie Nichols' vaults were perfect, but they had great landings. They were near perfect. I don't know. I don't want to say, yeah. Sorry. I'm just not a huge Maggie fan, but
I
I
see. I
I
am.
have reasons to respect her and her gymnastics, not just her as a person. She's a great competitor.
I feel like you're right, but also I also feel like everybody is right for eating her the fuck up. Like I'm so sorry. I have such a love hate relationship with Makayla Skinner because you're right. I don't feel like it's her fault per se because I feel like you're right. I do feel like it's other people feeding her this misinformation, not telling her the rules of the sport. But but then I have to be like, well, you're grown as hell now with the child, so Google, you can look up the deductions and figure out why you didn't get a 10 now.
I
Like,
think there's a lack of interest, which is like kind of insulting to be saying these things.
and that's where I don't feel like it's fair when that's why I don't feel like it's fair when people tell people to leave her alone because you can't make such it could be like, I worked really hard in my NC. I worked really hard to get a 10.0 in my junior season, and I did not get it. And that was one of the biggest disappointments in my life. And if that was the statement, what can anybody say? Nothing, because that's true. That would be a true statement. But when you say they didn't give me a 10, even though I deserved it, and I know this fault was perfect, like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's the part that really irritates me the fuck out of Makayla Skinner. Like, she makes such statements that are like supposed to be factual, when if she just worded it differently, it could be a lot less offensive.
I agree with what you said, and I agree with RJ's comment.
It just gives. It's just very irritating because, like we were talking about the other day, like, she has some very legitimate gripes. One of her legitimate gripes is her not being put on the actual team in 2021. But do she go ham on that decision? Do she sit up there and crop people out? No, because I just don't understand why 2016. Oh, I completely understand why, but I don't like the reason why that in 2016 they make it such a her versus Gabby thing when that's just never was the case. I think Makayla Skinner is the type of person who had a talent, who could give two shits about her talent, but she still has a talent. So she's like a person with a great voice, right? Who can't write a song, who can't read music, who don't understand notes, who they only understand, oh, tell me to stand here and to sing and tell me the words to the song, right? And that's Makayla Skinner. You tell her to flip, she's gonna flip. You put a routine together for her, if she can do it, she's gonna do it. Do Makayla Skinner in her own personal life have any interest in learning anything about Dakota points and learning about judging? And is she Chelsea Memo where she can actually score her routine and understand what scores she no?
Makayla on the national team coordinator. Makayla Skinner.
Could Makayla be the national team coordinator? No. Would they make her the national team coordinator because she's popular? Yes. And that's USA Gymnastics.
That would be so hard to keep an interest in the sport.
There's lots of girls like that who they just flip. That's it. They don't know nothing
Who are we
else.
talking about in the? Who was the national beam champion like way back?
Monica Flammer.
Yes, exactly.
Monica Flammer was like, bitch, I wasn't supposed to come here and win shit. Like, don't put all this pressure on me. I stop. I give up. I give up. Mm-mm. Gym Twitter would make her resign. Makayla Skinner is just that diabolical where I think Gym Twitter would only fuel her fire.
Yeah, she's not gonna be like shut up by people on the internet. She doesn't know. Just because you disagree with her or whatever.
Mm-hmm. How do you think, or what system, which pieces of both systems, of any system, do you like and think would be make people the most happiest when it comes to picking a team? Like, let's take pieces from everything that we've seen of ways to pick a team. Because I think every piece, you can find good in every piece. You can find bad in every part.
Agreed. There's obviously good and bad in both, in all of them. But I'm just curious who you're talking about when you said the one that will make people happy, because I think it's different answers for different people, different groups.
Correct. I guess the way to pick a team to make the most people happy is to pick a team with most people's most popular gymnasts on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Picking the team based on popularity. I guess that would be people's.
it could just go a bunch of ways when you think about Skinner, because like that's what ended up like being beneficial for her, that system of the all arounds or whatever. They weren't
Mhm.
using it then, so it wasn't. But like if it had been the next quad or Tom, that would have made people the most happy. But is it just because they got the popular gymnast? Like I don't know that actually is a stronger way for a gymnast like Makayla Skinner to be put on the team through all around standings versus just potential and crunching the numbers. She's like a specialist in my mind. So
To answer John's question, his question: do you think, or what do you think, is the best way to compose a team, even if you could change how teams compete at the Olympics? And honestly, I feel like the Olympic Games should be for the best athletes in the world, not the most competitors or the most diversity or whatever. It should be a
would you
competition
say it's the most
for the.
competitive?
It shouldn't be no for the most competitors or like diversity or
Oh, okay.
like. So I feel like if we're gonna just speak fairness, in my opinion, I feel like the fairest way to pick a team would be letting the Americans send two teams to the Olympic Games, letting the first team be 1 through 5, letting the second team be you pick that team
If we're
completely
making rules, like make the rule right now, like why the Americans? Because they're the world champions? Because they won the last Olympics? What?
because they're the world champions. The rule would be if you're the world champions the year before the Olympics, you get to send two teams to the Olympics.
Just the world champions, not the medalists from the team final?
Of course, I would want all of the medalists, but I think the Olympic Committee would just give me one team to
No,
allow
it's not
two.
clear to me. Like, because just because Canada won the bronze medal, I don't want to see two Canadian teams.
Correct, but I would damn sure wouldn't mind seeing two Chinese teams.
Agreed. Yeah. That's so open ended. It's you can be so creative.
It should be. Well, okay. This is how. Okay, since we're just making up rules now, the way the rule would work for me is because I would want to see the best athletes at the Olympic Games. The rule would be if you're a team that have more athletes than allowed on the team that are considered to be the best athletes in the
By
world,
who?
gymnastics standards, start values. If you could put, if you could realistically put 14 names, well, what was it? It would be 10 names together and divide those two teams up and get two team scores that would be competitive in the world. I think you should be allowed to send two teams. I think right now it's only two. It's only two teams that will qualify for though. Maybe three. Two teams. That would be the Americans and the Chinese.
Maybe
I don't even think the Russians can put the. And that would be the third possible team, the Japanese. I don't think the Russians could put together two teams,
maybe with their juniors. They have really good juniors.
but with their seniors, I don't think. I think they could put together one really strong team and another team with like two good girls and like everybody else starting from like a 12.1 something. But I don't think they could put together two teams.
I don't think they had. Yeah, two teams. No, sorry, I was confused. What do you think about just having this one team for each country, but there's an alternate Olympics. You didn't make the Olympics, we're sending you to the alternate Olympics. Same thing, just you're not as good.
You already see how they do with the Pan American Games. The people be like, yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to go to that shit.
Even if it has Olympics in it?
I think people are going to look at that as disrespectful. I think I could be wrong.
No, I definitely think people would be disrespected by it, but I'm not, personally. Did you see my message just now?
No. Look. Which team do you think was the best picked?
When?
Any quad.
Any quad. Um, the first thing that comes to mind is the Russian team in 2021 because it was just like serendipitous. Like they had exactly what they needed, no more, no less, maybe less, but they like they had just enough, and they really capitalized. But I don't think it's the best pick team.
I do think for the 2021 team for the Russians, they were really lucky that COVID happened because
They were lucky for multiple reasons. For gymnasts,
that Russian team without the juniors, I don't know what they would have done because they just would have had Melnika, but
yeah,
they would have not had Listinova. They would have had not had Razova. Um,
it would have been a lot weaker. I mean, in
they would have
2019, they had Lilia Akimova do the all around at Worlds.
hmm
The vault, the girl who just did vault at the Olympics.
hmm I don't know. I mean, Lilia would have helped on floor because she did make floor finals at the Olympics, I believe.
Oh my god, that is so. That blows my mind. I like tried to bury that memory, I think. But she had really difficult passes also.
hmm
Were those was that the hardest routine she could have done based off of that quad, or could she have done even more? I don't remember.
I think she did a routine once that was harder than that. I don't remember when.
She did a routine that had like double Arabian tuck front, then a pike double Arabian, then like a full in, and double. No, I already said that. I don't know. It was really impressive one time.
hmm Yeah, Pasinko would have had to come back if the Olympics actually was have held in 2002. I mean, in 2020, because what the Russians was going to do,
2008
what the Russians was going to
China Olympics, the 1995 Chinese team, also 2000 Russia, and but like that they didn't use all of their people equally, so it doesn't feel like maximized in terms of how good of the decisions were or whatever. Do you have any?
do. I tell you who used to be really good at picking teams until all their talent just kind of dried up was them doggone Romanians.
Which team are you thinking about? Like in the 90s?
The 90s, definitely.
90
They just,
before 96 and before.
yeah, that after 92, between 92 and 2000, like, I don't know what the Romanians were doing, but like, they just kept
I don't
getting.
the teams were as strong in the Sydney quad for Romania. I think that they benefited more from other teams' mistakes in that quad, whereas the previous one they were winning because they were the best and they were doing the best. That's how I see it. Sorry.
No, you're. I feel you. I feel you. Because yeah, if Russia didn't fall apart in team finals, I do think Russia would have won in 2000.
That's not even a question for me.
I think in 2004 though they were another. That was another quad where they were really dominant.
Romania.
Hmm.
Well, they won 2002 Worlds, and 2003 they got silver.
There was no 2002 Worlds. There was a 2001.
No, there was World in
2000,
2002, but no team final in 2002.
yeah, it was individuals.
Sorry.
No, you're.
I wish
Uh,
I wish someone like Raducan had held on through to Athens.
I do too, but I can understand with that one why. Like that girl was so screwed over on every level. Like I can understand why.
And it makes even it still makes sense even though she had a successful 2001 World Championships. Not saying that it couldn't have been better, but
Yeah, because she would have had. I think her heart was just wasn't in it anymore after they took away her gold medal after the Olympics. I just think
no, I agree. Yeah,
I. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish if 2000, if the fifth and sixth were. Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't hold on to Doll. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name, but
is she
already I'm surprised.
deaf?
Yes.
Kuznetsova? I just don't think I know. The one I wanted to take one of those spots was named Anna, and she had a front handspring, front tuck, and
Yeah, she was a very popular junior, and then I don't know what happened to her. I think that's who that is.
I don't know. Wait, did you see my chat?
No, where did you send it at, my love?
Restream.
Restream. Let me see. Private chat. Do. Oh,
Evgenia. Oh, she made beam finals, and she was a great gymnast.
mhm. um, yes, but after I get to work.
Okay. When will that be?
Well, I'm gonna have to end the show soon. I'm gonna have to start getting ready because I go to work at 11, so I'm gonna leave here in like an hour and a half. So, when I get to work, I will text you on Twitter, and then we can figure something out.
Okay, you think it'll be doable and you have interest?
Hmm?
You think it will be like achievable and you're interested? Only if you're interested.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially when I work overnight, I'd be bored a lot. So yeah,
And you'll be able to do it technologically from work?
yeah. I just have to figure out everything. But yeah.
Great. Okay.
So with that being said, everybody, we're gonna end the show here. Oscar, tell the people how they can find you.
Thank you. You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube. Please subscribe at Catfish Crenshaw with K's for Catfish and Crenshaw. And on Instagram, you can find me at Gymnastics Saves Lives. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. No problem. So when I get to work tonight, if I can figure it out, we might stream the World Championships from 1996. So if you want to watch that along, you might stream that over there on my Twitter page. So be on the lookout for that. I love you guys. Good night. See you later. Bye. See ya, Oscar.